we're starting on the tiles section now that the engine is screwed on nicely with my big long screws. So next is painting these up. I don't think I'll show the painting of these because it's just dry brushing like in the previous ones, but you'll see them when they're done. And then it'll be working on the corner posts, how we're going to drill through and fit them with pegs. So there we go, the tiles are now painted into a checkered pattern. I used white and to make it like marble and like sandstone. I used parchment paint, but a couple of the squares had a corner cut off and added a manhole cover on a separate printed part. So we've got a couple of manhole covers added in to the flooring. Next thing is to glue them on, and then we can move on to doing the posts. So there we go, they're all glued on. It's just a thing to let them cure. I used some Gorilla Clear in the main centre and then a couple of dots of super glue, so hopefully with them pushed down they should stick fairly fast and then cure even better. But that's it laid out. Next thing we've got to do is back to posts again, and I grade these up the other day when I had the paint mixed, and now I've got to work out where they go, because what I'm aiming for is on the corner, mounting them, and then put the fence parts in between on these three sides. So that's the layout of this section, and then we will have the boiler or the burner mounted somewhere here, and then the other figures added. So the next stage is marking up the bases and drilling the holes in. See, this time they're not being screwed in, they're going to be pegged and then glued on. So it means marking out as square as possible and then marking out the square and drilling that with a fine pilot, and then bring it up in size and getting the posts in place. So with a bit of tape there's a rough centre mark, so all I've got to do is drill in. And that's all you need is a pilot hole to get started with. Then let's size that's what I'm going to use. These are bamboo skewers. They make good cheap dowels, and let's see what size. Roughly 3mm, type 3mm. So I'll put a 3mm drill in the pillar drill and drill all the way through, and then I can glue the dowel in and cut it off to length. Now with the pin cut off, all I'm going to do now is use a bit of super glue. Actually the thin stuff should do for this really. And the way I'm going to do it is I've got the fence post in, and I'm going to put glue on the top of this and just push it home into the fence till it touches, pull the fence out, and that is set to the correct depth. You know, it's just inside, but that's giving me a post to drill and a mount onto the board. So here we go, I've marked out the first square for the first post, and this one I don't mind fixing solid because it's the it's going to be like the place where I start adding them on and work my way round when I do finally glue them in. So we've got again a little pilot hole, and then this has got to be drilled to depth of the pins, and to 3mm. I've just got to find an end one. Through, corner, end. So we've got to set a drill to that depth and drill it, and this is not as deep as the thickness of the board, but we've got to go through the plastic anyway, so I know I've got plenty of clearance. So let's get the drill set up. Now with the drill all set up, we're going to run a hole in. And I forgot to do the most important thing, is put a stop on the piece of tape on the drill as a stop. Otherwise I could go right through the board. So we'll hold the pin and set it to a clearance, so it's got an extra couple of millimeters below the fact. Now I can safely drill in. And that should fit. That is tight, so we'll make it a bit looser. Do you know, that's still not quite deep enough. Well, I'm going to glue that into place because I'm happy with it. And I'm going to use two types of glue. Just round the base I'll use the clear, not too much, because that will spread as it falls down. And some super glue on the tip, which will make it stick really quick. Line it up in the right direction and in fast and line it up. There we go. And like I said, I'm doing this so it goes off, and then the others will line up nicely with it. So I'm going to go on to time lapses you don't need to see anymore. Now I shot myself in the foot a little bit because you've got to assemble these as you go along, because the pin length, it's not like the screws, you're screwing up from underneath, so I've got to do it differently, so it'll be more sort of off than on. So it is a case of doing these more in situ. I'm trying to work out what I cut it down last time. Cut it to there. Yeah, so you can run into quite a lot of issues when using pins. You haven't got the clearance, or when you do it with the other stuff. So I'm going to have to carry on off camera, I'm afraid, because of that reason. And because also I won't be able to film because I need to rotate this a lot. So there we go, everything's in test fitted. Now all I've got to do is paint the fence and do a final glue, and that'll be this section done, and we get on to adding the gas tank and the other bits in here, which is a bigger thing. Well, biggish.